This child was born a billionaire. Even his pacifier is made of solid gold. His name is Richie, and his father is the richest man in the universe. He travels exclusively by private jet worth $10 billion. As an only child, Richie is the apple of everyone's eye. Even when his father is swamped with work, he never forgets to play Richie's favorite game, baseball. To that end, his father built a baseball field in the backyard, and even hired a top-tier star player to serve as his batting practice partner. But even with everything he has, Rich still has his worries. One day, Rich attended an event hosted by a company, but while giving a speech, he happened to notice a few kids from the slums playing baseball. He wanted to join them but was stopped by his butler. It was then that Rich realized he didn't even have a single friend to play with. He invited a few classmates over to play, but they were either busy signing contracts or busy taking over countries. This made Richie feel very lonely. The next day, he turned down an invitation from the president and went back to the slums. He decided to befriend these poor kids, but the kids looked down on Richie. Richie didn't get angry. Instead, he used a bit of friendly banter to catch a girl's attention. The girl immediately challenged Rich to a game of baseball. The game was over almost as soon as it began. Rich stunned them all with a home run. However, after losing the game, the girl got angry. She told Rich to get lost right away. Rich said nothing more and simply turned and left. The next day, the whole family was supposed to go celebrate the Queen of England's birthday, but seeing Rich so downcast, his mother decided to let him stay home and relax. As soon as they got home, the butler had a surprise waiting for Richie. The butler had actually invited those poor kids over to visit, and as soon as the poor kids arrived at Richie's house, they immediately fell in love with the life of the rich. There was a McDonald's right in the house, and the backyard was big enough to drive go-karts. The pond was small, but they could still ride jet skis on it, and food was available anytime, anywhere. The children quickly warmed up to Richie. It was the happiest day of Richie's life. But just then, the butler suddenly delivered some terrible news. The private jet carrying Richie's parents had been in a major accident. Richie rushed back to his room and dialed the family hotline, but couldn't pick up his father's signal. However, all of this had been orchestrated by Richie's uncle. As long as the entire Richie family disappeared, he would inherit the entire estate. Fortunately, Richie had gotten off the plane at the last moment and narrowly escaped the crash. And so, Richie became the family's first in line to inherit. Although he was only 10 years old, his business acumen far surpassed his father's. After just a few meetings, Rich completely won over all the shareholders. His uncle, unwilling to accept this, came up with a plan. First, he framed the loyal butler and had him thrown into prison on charges of embezzlement. Then, under the pretext of protecting him, he confined Rich to the house. But the doctor in the lab overheard all of the uncle's plans. Upon learning of the conspiracy, the doctor immediately told Rich everything. The top priority was to rescue the butler from prison. At that moment, the doctor produced a secret weapon and gave it to Rich. It was a bottle of a special solution capable of corroding any substance. The next day, the butler in prison received a package from Rich. He thought it was just an ordinary tube of toothpaste, but just as he was about to brush his teeth, his toothbrush was corroded.